The arrival of the playoffs brings with it an incredible amount of scrutiny on every team, especially the teams that have been anointed as potential conference champions. Frequently, this attention drills in on players' weaknesses. This ire came back to the forefront after the 76ers lost the first game of their series to the Brooklyn Nets. The media and fans came out in droves with their pitchforks for none other than Ben Simmons. Things were said such as, he can't shoot. If he doesn't learn how to shoot, he'll never be a great player, and Philadelphia should trade Ben Simmons. The press must have almost caught fire over the last week, because the takes were hot, and they need to calm down. Because as we saw, Simmons then came out, dropped a triple-double, looked great, and helped eviscerate the Nets in Game 2. And this just shows why these hot takes have to stop. If Simmons played an entire season averaging 9 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and just 9 shots a game, then maybe we could get onto these hot takes. But good God, the man averaged 17 points, 8.8 rebounds, 7.7 assists, and shot 56.3% from the field in the regular season. He is an extremely good basketball player, and this video is going to detail exactly why he is so good, and will continue to be, even if he never learns how to shoot. One of the biggest questions for Ben Simmons in relation to his shooting is how can he score 20 plus points a game? To me, this question has two primary answers. First, he doesn't need to score 20 points a game for his team to win, and even if he did need to, he could. And let's dissect the second point first. Simmons is an extremely gifted basketball player. He's one of the most athletic players in the entire league, is incredible at shooting hooks and floaters, has a decent post game, and is absolutely unstoppable in transition. If you put Simmons onto a team like the Cavaliers and the Heat used to surround LeBron James with, he would dominate. Just imagine him running pick and pops with a shooting big man surrounded by other 3-point shooters. Where do you help off? If you do, you know Simmons will find a shooter for a wide open look, and if you don't, he'll blow by his man most of the time and get straight to the rim, where he finishes at almost unprecedented levels. But the construction of the 76ers roster does not allow for this. They haven't been able to fit out a roster that just has shooters to surround him and Embiid. Instead, they have gone for the maximization of talent approach, which doesn't always lead to the best fit. With the 76ers, Simmons usually shares the court with Embiid or Jimmy Butler, and sometimes both, meaning that he is frequently faced with defenders that are more than willing to come off of their man and pack the paint whenever Ben drives. This limits the number of one-on-one opportunities Simmons has and forces him into more of a facilitator role. And he still scores 17 points a game. Simmons does a lot of this in transition where he is simply a blur and has the capacity to finish with both hands at the rim on unsuspecting defenses. There are maybe only 3 guys in the entire league who play like Ben in transition: Giannis, KD, and LeBron. Other players are super threatening in transition, but not many have the size and speed combination that those guys possess. And even with Giannis, KD, and LeBron, they are all subtly different to Ben. This means that in the regular season, most teams aren't used to stopping Simmons. They have maybe 2 nights of film to prepare to stop him in transition. And this is partially what allows him to get out and dominate against unsuspecting defenses. But in the playoffs, you have a lifetime in comparison to game plan for each individual opponent. The Boston Celtics last year and the Brooklyn Nets this year have formed a wall in transition against Ben. Guys prioritize getting back to defend over offensive rebounding, and when Simmons prepares to attack, they come off of their man to form a wall along the free throw line and seal off the paint. When Ben had Shamet, Covington, Redick and Saric in transition, this was a little bit harder to do, as these guys were all good 3-point spot-up shooters. But now, they really only have Harris and Redick to snipe down these open shots. There are a lot more players to come off of and stop Simmons from getting his easy transition points in the paint. You might be thinking that all these things I'm saying are making it sound like Simmons is someone who will struggle to score. He's not. He just has to be used the right way. Every single NBA player is an absolutely amazing basketball player, and nearly every single NBA player is an amazing offensive basketball player. Guys have spent their whole life perfecting their craft, and most will have one subset of skills that could be used to score efficiently and in a high volume if they were featured in the offense. The thing is, these guys are usually overshadowed by players who can do an incredibly high number of things at an incredibly high level. Think of James Harden. He can drive, dish, shoot from the mid-range, post up, nail floaters, finish at the rim, and has his deadly step-back three as well. Stopping Harden is impossible. Every type of defense has to give him something. You just have to decide what you can live with. And as we are seeing in the Utah Jazz series, even on his offhand, he can destroy you. Simmons isn't as well-rounded as Harden, but he is an incredibly unique offensive player who can warp defenses to create fantastic looks for himself and his teammates. He's an all-time great passer, a fantastic finisher around the rim, incredibly strong when backing people down, and scarily dangerous in transition. But due to the limitation of not having a jump shot, he does have to be built around in a specific way. As mentioned, Ben needs spacing in order to thrive and not be forced into double and triple teams that don't create good looks for his team. The 76ers have an amazing team, but there are only two elite level shooters on the roster in Redick and Tobias Harris. They might still have the talent level to go deep into the playoffs and even potentially win a championship, but if they want to improve their chances significantly, the easiest way is to load up on more shooting. But even within this team, there are ways to use Simmons better. In the half court, teams' favourite strategy at the moment is to sag completely off of Ben and crowd the paint. This isn't the first time this defense has been used in the NBA. Teams have been doing this to Draymond Green since the 2016 playoffs to some effect. But Draymond has learned to use this to execute dribble handoffs with Steph and Clay. Because his man is so far removed from the play, he can't help or switch onto the shooter, leaving the Splash Brothers with an open pull-up jumper after Draymond's screen. Simmons and Embiid have done this with some effect with JJ Redick, but they need to go to it more in the playoffs. By doing this over and over again, you will eventually force Ben's man to come up and guard him when he has the ball, allowing him to be much more effective in one-on-one situations and blowing past his man to collapse the defense. The other thing the 76ers could do is run more pick and roll with Embiid and Simmons. These two are clearly their worst shooters on the court most of the time, but by putting them directly in the play, you can't help off of them. Instead, you have to help off the players who can actually shoot, and Simmons will find them. But this is made all the more difficult by the fact that Butler and Harris expect shots within the offense. You have 4 All-Stars now, and you can't simply run an offense that is focused around 2 players for the majority of the possessions. So it's a damn good thing that Simmons doesn't mind playing the role of a distributor. Ben Simmons is an otherworldly passer, a magician who can read plays as if he's viewing real time in half speed. When you combine this with his incredible 6'10" frame, you have a player with amazing vision who can also see and pass above most NBA defenses. Take a moment to think of another player who has come into the NBA and dazzled with as many amazing passes in just his first 2 years. There aren't many. Magic Johnson, definitely. LeBron James, maybe. To come in this young but with this much vision shows signs of a player who has an incredibly detailed understanding of basketball and the skills and size to execute it, and it is part of what makes him such a unique player. Once again, where Ben's passing is perhaps the best is in transition. Simmons can pick the ball up off of the dribble and hit almost any type of pass. Behind the back, over his head, a whip pass to the corner, or just a simple bounce pass to a cutter. This level of execution is part of what makes him so deadly in transition. Defenders can't just play him for his scoring. They live in constant fear that he might make a pass to anyone on the court for an open shot. But it isn't just his passing that is exceptional. Simmons knows how to run a team. He has that Mike Conley approach to the game where he sets up and ensures that each of his starters get their looks. Every game he'll ensure Embiid gets to post up. Will call a play to get Jimmy Butler the ball on the wing with the defense scrambling, and specifically looks for Harris in transition and on mismatches. To do this in-game requires a very high level of discipline and awareness, and while he could cut down on his turnovers, the fact that Simmons knows how to do this on top of his passing ability at just age 22 is what makes him one of the best point guards in the league and one of the players with the most potential. Defense. the other end of the court, and something that doesn't always dazzle fans when thinking of players on an individual level. But it is equally as important, and Simmons is equally as good at it. It was perhaps the biggest knock on him when he was in college. He didn't look like he cared or tried on this end of the court, and many lamented he would play like that in the NBA. But almost since day one, Simmons has been an incredible defensive player at the professional level. His combination of speed and length make it possible for him to hound guards and also protect the paint. Scoring in a one-on-one situation against Ben is very, very tough. If you manage to beat him off the dribble, he is so quick to recover and contest the shot once again, making it tough to score. And if you try and take him into the paint, he is so big and strong that getting separation is incredibly challenging. Then he is also capable of delivering weak side help and shot blocking. This essentially means that Philadelphia have extra shot blocking, a player to guard bigs and guards, and a fantastic one-on-one defender from the point guard position. This is unique within the league and provides Philadelphia with a ton of defensive flexibility. Plus, it gives them an amazing rebounder to end possessions as well. So Ben basically provides value in every area of basketball except for one, the dreaded jump shot. Fadeaways, threes, pull-up jumpers. These are things that come to mind almost as soon as you think of basketball. When people go down to casually shoot around, they tend not to practice their post defense or their dribbling. They go right to the basket and begin taking jumpers. It's an incredibly important part of basketball, and yet something that Ben Simmons can't seemingly do at a pro level. I firmly believe that Simmons will continue to be a fantastic player without a jump shot. But with a jump shot, he could be one of the best players in the league and have one of the best careers ever. There is no doubt that Simmons is putting in the work, but some have speculated that he is putting in the wrong type of work. Ben shoots his jump shots with his left hand, but he finishes at the rim predominantly with his right hand. When mimicking a jump shot motion, he also does it with his right hand. The guy might be amazingly ambidextrous, but he seems right hand dominant. Plus, his jump shot with his left hand is clunky and not fluid. Rebuilding his jump shot on his left hand would take an incredible amount of time to accomplish. Building a new jumper on his right hand might not be so hard. If I was Philadelphia and Ben, I would be directing him to get into the gym and work on his jumper with his right hand. Try and get it to be a mechanically sound and fluid motion. If he could learn how to do this, it would open up his game and scoring so much, and open up a huge amount of spacing for the 76ers. He doesn't even need to be able to hit pull-up mid-range shots. Just being able to shoot spot-up threes would change the world for Ben. It would stop people being able to sag off of him, stop them from limiting his driving lanes, but most importantly, it would stop everyone talking. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more NBA videos every Saturday. And let me know in the comments below what you think of Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers.